Make sure you engage with the people that support you from when you started. From when you started, making sure you engage during your come up. And this is what happens to a lot of brands, a lot of influencers, and a lot of rappers, artists. They don't engage with their audience. Now we've got the amazing pop star, you know, the next big thing you look at, you think of Beyonce, you think about Rihanna, you think, okay, who's the next one coming up? Tyla. Now, Tyla, it's not looking good for her. Do you know what I mean? She released the EP, and first week, she's only sold under 4,000 copies, and now it's all got to do with race, color, what you identify yourself as. Now, I'm going to give you some insights and a breakdown, and please let me know in the comments. Also, I'm a student to the game, so please teach me. Now, anyone that don't know who Tyla is, I'm going to flip my screen so you can know, so you can see who it is. She's 12 million followers, like, beautiful. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can see, like, she's a pop star. Like, she's doing crazy stuff. You go to her YouTube, mad. She had a song, I think last year, over 1 billion streams. I think it's called Water. Obviously, I'll get it up. And you can see her numbers. Like, she's doing crazy numbers. You get me? You will see. Now, you see, if you say, like, you need to understand the people that are following you. You need to understand the people that support you. You need to remember the power of your community, the power of your culture. Now, if you don't represent them, or you represent, or you forget and you represent yourself somewhere on something else, then it will all come crashing down. Now, the breakfast, I'm going to play something. So basically, people are giving their insights of why she's obviously, why her EP and why she's flopped real bad. In America, listen, even 4,000 sales in the UK is bad. Like, it's as a big artist, it's not good enough. You get me? You won't even get a top 40. So she wasn't even in the charts with 4,000 sales, having 12 million followers just on Instagram alone, having 1 billion streams from one song, over 1 billion. So yeah, we're gonna get into a breakdown what obviously people are saying, and I will give you some insights of it.
Tyla's EP completely flopping with only hitting like 4,000 sales, I think, this week, should be the biggest lesson that you can ever learn if you are someone who is trying to grow a brand or a business in any capacity, okay? She is a great example of what happens when you intentionally build up an audience because you think it's profitable, right? Like, she has had a huge Black American audience within the genres that
what we're going to do, we're going to break down why this has happened. I'm going to play another video, but I'm just letting you know the business side of what's happening. Being a superstar, and then now, boom, you're turning to your people for support, and this is what's happening, and she's breaking it down very good.
She creates music. I mean, she had one of, like, Water was like one of the biggest songs, I think, what was that, last year? To now dropping her EP and it completely flopping after she made comments and doubled down on what the Black American community felt as disrespect and alienated her core audience. The worst thing that you can do as a brand is to alienate your audience, is to switch up after you have already profited off of them.
And let me break down when she says alienate your audience. Look, you started from somewhere. You was showing love to your audience, you was respecting them, whatnot, and then you've got bigger and bigger and bigger, and then you don't give back to them. There's no form of giving back. There's no form of anything. But when you need them, you want them to come knocking. So it's like, for example, you just say politics, MP, you get them Conservative and Labour. You was once Labour. You get me? You're standing up for Miss Justice. injustice. This is what's going on. This is what's going on. And then all of a sudden, you've done something that don't make sense to any of your fan base that was backing you. Like, it doesn't make sense.
I think that's one of the main things, or the main reasons why Black Americans chose to just stop consuming Tyla, is because of some of those comments that she made. And this is a mistake that a lot of brands and influencers make all the time. Look at Hub's life and the backlash that he got when he switched up his content. Or there's a couple other influencers recently that have built up a brand, built up an audience, made a ton of money, and then they switch up and then they still expect the same level of support. That's just not how that works. And she was an artist that has a ton of potential, still has potential, but she probably needs a better team. She needs a better team that understands true branding and marketing and knowing your audience and knowing what your audience values and what is important to them, and understanding that if you are going to choose to profit off of said audience, you have to take those things into account, or that can absolutely tank your brand. And that's exactly, I feel like, what has happened with this release, because 4,000 sales is extremely low for someone who had one of like the #1 songs of the year. That's crazy.
And what she's saying is, a lot of people are saying it's got to do with marketing and whatnot, but no, it's a disconnect of your audience. Yeah, a lot of people will say, I didn't even know this was even released, but the reason why you won't know it's released because it's the back of engagement. If people are now not rocking with you, it's the back of engagement. But I'm going to kind of break down, and we're going to kind of, in this video, it kind of breaks down on the back of how everything can stem. It's stemmed like this.
School me on these debates that they be having about your identity as a South African colored person. What does that even mean?
So I'll give you a backstory on this. Yeah, is basically she's gone on the Breakfast Club, and Charlemagne, he's just straight with it. Like, they said to a list of questions that he shouldn't be asking. You can't ask this. You can't ask this. But he just answered it. You get me? And then obviously she identifies herself as colored. And obviously that question got had, and the reaction was there. This went crazy viral, and people, Black Americans took disrespect, because it's like, okay, cool, you don't identify yourself as black. And you gotta understand, with Americans, they have this rule where it's the one drop rule. Like, if you got any form of black in you, mixed, whatnot, you are black. You have to identify yourself as black. If you don't, then, and in South Africa, they have a rule where they identify themselves as colored. That's how they identify themselves. So let me kind of break it down. So in Jamaica, you might have black person mixed with Indian, and you might say that person's he's coolie. In Guyana, you might have the exact same mix, and that person's Douglas. You get me? Douglas, or something like that. And you gotta understand, like, for example, in DR, people don't identify themselves as black. They might identify themselves as Dominican. That's what they are. So your audience is from America. You're in America. Your ecosystem's in America, and you're not even openly saying that you identify yourself as black. You're saying you're colored. So that on the back of that, it's gone left. And this is what this lady had to say on this, so you can kind of listen to the breakdown and listen.
And the other reason your music isn't selling here in America is because why would you come all the way to the Breakfast Club to just not answer the question, Tyla? Tyla, signed to Epic Records, puts out Water, and it is a success. It is everywhere you were hearing music, child. They are playing Water. But the conversation around Tyla's blackness is ever present. Is she colored? Is she black? What is she? Tyla, doing her press rounds, comes over to Breakfast Club. Now, Tyla's team tells Breakfast Club, listen, we're not answering any questions about Tyla's blackness. But Uncle Charlotte comes from the school of Wendy Williams. He says, bullshit. Everybody's talking about Tyla's blackness, so I'm going to ask Tyla about her blackness. To which Tyla responds,
Fool me on these debates that they be having about your identity as a South African colored person. What does that even mean?
Can we not? Por favor.
Oh, I like that. We keep
exactly. What a missed opportunity. You were sitting on the breakfast.
And that is where everything came crumbling down, just from that question that got asked and the way you could have broke it down in a way of just said, I am black. In South Africa, that I get identified as colored or whatnot. Now, if you kind of obviously you search up in South Africa, what does colored mean? It gives you a breakdown of mixed. You get me? This is what they identify their self as. Do you know what I mean? So you just gotta understand that. But obviously you didn't break it down, and then now it's kind of mad backfired. You get me?
Club, which has to be up in the top 3 of urban radio in New York. There is not a bigger market for African American, moreover African American women. If you want to have a conversation about blackness, this is where you should be having it. Instead of utilizing the airways to get her point across, Tyla then goes home, takes to her Twitter, and gives us this. She opens with, I never denied my blackness. You also never stood up in support of it, while also expecting black women to connect with your art. He then goes on to say, I don't expect to be identified as colored outside of South Africa by anyone not comfortable with doing so, because I understand the weight of the word outside of South Africa.
You gotta understand this as well, my people. You see, in America, you don't mess about. You see, when it comes to race and identifying yourself, and you don't mess about. You see, in the UK, obviously, in the UK, a lot of mixed race women, they get a hard time because you will get a lot of the black community who will be like, you're not black. You can't speak on our thing. You can't speak on us. In America, they'll break it down like, if you got any bit of ounce of black in you, you need to identify yourself as black. And that's what I was talking about, the one drop rule. If you flip the screen, you will be able to see, and it kind of breaks it down. The one drop rule identifies if a person has just one drop of, get me, and it just says a blood, it just breaks down. You should be identifying yourself as Negro. Like, you should be identifying yourself as black. So don't mess about with the Americans and your audience, because they will really, really just cancel you. Like, when I say cancel you, they just won't spend their hard-earned money on what you're doing anymore. And that's where it just went mad.
Again, why couldn't you say that to Charlamagne? Then you had the VMA award-holding passive-aggressive moment that, again, did not connect with African-American women. Whether that's what Tyla meant to give off or not, that's how it read. Are you really going to buy the art of someone you just don't connect with? Yeah. And the other reason your music...
And this is what you got to understand. And this is where it's so important to find in your target audience, whether you have a business or whether you have a style of content that you're going to make. Do you know what I mean? Because on the back of that, it's like, see the race thing. The race things it's deep in it. You get me? And if you want to kind of break it down, remember, you see race is man-made. You get me? It's so, like, look, it even breaks it down here that it's man-made, guys. Do you know what I mean? And this is why this thing's really deep. It gets really deep into this thing, because if you have a sort of fan base and most of your fan base is predominantly black, the black community, and you don't identify yourself as black and you're saying you're colored, then the black people are not going to support you then. They're not going to support you. And if you kind of understand this, even playing some of these, you will understand.
If Tyler wanted to use the word colored, that's good on her. Black Americans are just not going to engage with it. I have people telling me, oh, you need to educate yourself about being colored. No, you're not going to Jim Crow my black ass.
To get, like, it's just, and it goes on.
I'm American. I lived in South Africa for the first half of 2016 and the latter half of 2017. And here's what everybody's getting wrong about Tyla. First off, Tyla's colored. Oh yeah, she's colored through and through. She's not colored in one place and black in another place. She's not, she's colored. And it's an important distinction to make because being colored in South Africa versus being black in South Africa have two vastly different implications as to basically what outcomes to expect out of life. And it's specifically due to skin color or race, so to speak.
This is some deep stuff, guys. Like, if you just kind of do backstories and you can see, like, kind of what got, it's just mad. Look.
Tyla album flopped. She only sold nearly 4,000 on the release in America. Duh. She said she wasn't black. She said she was colored.
This is a deep thing. So it's just kind of just insights to the community, to anyone that's trying to build a personal brand. Just understand who your target audience is and what you represent. Don't be fake to, I'm not saying Tyla is fake. I'm not saying she won't come back from this. And I feel sorry for her. Do you know what I mean? You can see she's a genuine person. And if she grew up with growing up to be like, you're colored, that's your beliefs, innit? You're not saying that, oh, you know what I mean? I look at you as black, but people really take offense to it. It's like, what do you mean? Like, you're colored. So why can't you say you're black? Are you ashamed? So let me know in the comments, guys, man. Let me know in the comments, please. Peace.